Oh, wait, shoot. What? Oh. Oh, yep. Oh, we're going.
Yay.
We are live. Well,
Hello.
on an
delay.
on an accident.
Hey guys.
Your hey
What's
guys is probably
happening,
like
man?
after. Anyway.
Mhm.
Who's that? Expert in snowboards?
I don't even see that.
Who are you, expert in snowboards? And
Oh, that
welcome
could
to.
be Tyler Young. I don't know if you guys remember him. He used to drive when the track was in.
Oh, Alex Burton? Super old.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
is that your old Gmail account? Probably.
Hey, man.
oh,
If
you Burton. Oh, cause yeah.
I mean, if
Burton.
oh, or is it actually meaning like Burton snowboards?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Well, that's what I thought.
Peter Johnson from London. Hey Pete.
Wait, so last week he said that it was worth it to stay up until like 6. So
Yeah,
like, is it like 4 a.m. over there? No,
probably.
just jeez.
Damn, dude.
Thank you for watching us in the middle
Yeah,
of the
that's dope.
I'm gonna click like button because I'm watching. There you go. Yep, it's 4. Jesus.
I hope you
I
have a
almost said
project that
it.
you're working on, Peter. Like what, like drift car or whatever. Just I hope you're working on something else, like while watching this. But thanks for watching. It's always cool to have new people. Well, I guess not new anymore. You've been here for a few times. Um, I realized that I just messed up my it's not a transcript, it's a thing. And I can't even oh my gosh, you guys.
What?
Ugh.
What do you mean?
You know when you have one of those days where you look at a word, well, you spell a word, right? And you look at it and it's like
It's not the correct spelling.
no, it's the correct spelling, but it looks
It's-
absolutely wrong.
Right?
Bro, try being dyslexic. That's every word.
It's like I know I spelt it right, but man,
Mhm.
it doesn't work. Okay. Let's get going here. So, welcome to the live stream, everyone. This is our RC Drift live stream. We'll probably go into like other avenues because I'm starting to run out of things about RC Drift. John,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, are you gonna be that ADHD tonight?
Wow, what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. It's just Loki's just filling the entire screen.
Yeah.
You might as well just leave him there and you can go and do whatever.
Let's say, is he
Right?
singing in for you today?
Yeah, we'd rather have like cute puppy pictures than John there.
Wow.
I mean, if you're gonna leave him there, like
Nah, I was bringing him down. I was just waiting to get started.
so 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 welcome to the stream. My name's Adam. You guys can introduce yourselves.
My name is John.
I'm Ben.
We drive RC cars.
Yeah.
Sure do.
We have problems.
Lots of them.
And spending money on RC cars isn't one of them. Actually it is. But you know, however it goes. Okay, so you already know me, you already know John. So Ben is our special guest here. Ben, who are you?
I'm Ben. I mean, I'm a tattoo artist out of Vancouver, Washington specifically. Live in Portland though. It's where I'm from. Not born, raised since I was 3 months old. Got into RC when I was really young too. So
I realized that that's a diorama behind you. It does actually look like you're in like the roof, like the bonus room of some house right now. It's kind of cool.
the angle's just right.
Yeah, like there's a little for me. There's a little bit of a corner like up in, but yeah, it's pretty sick.
Right here.
Drift Dojo. I haven't heard of you guys. How's it going? Oh, Janae's in here too.
Hey,
Yeah, so Janae, we're gonna talk about RTRs and well, kind of where to start in Drift tonight. So hopefully we won't be too boring, and we'll kind of try to get there sooner than later. Corpus Christi. Oh, John, do you know Peter? Wow, Phil. Wow, I'm sorry, Phil.
Ah,
He just moved there from Oregon. Um, yeah, I think he drove up to that track. I don't know. Like every single track for Phil is like 2.5 hours away. It's crazy.
dang. Sucks, dude.
It's
That's
like we
rough.
thought we had it bad.
You're
No.
right.
He has to drive 2 hours, 2.5
But
hours every time.
okay, but get this. So Phil was like hardcore, right? Because he literally came every Thursday night and Sunday night or
Yeah.
Sunday.
But he said he was like 45 minutes away from the shop, the old shop, or Albany.
Was it only 45 minutes?
That's what he said.
I mean,
That's what I remember him saying.
yes, Falcon Phil.
Yeah, I
That
think
I
he
that is
said
him.
9.
he would be in Portland a lot too, crawling at Elk Rock.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
True.
Yeah, so apparently Phil is thinking about retiring the Falcon theme because they're getting out of Falcon's getting out of Drift, I think.
Yep, that's what I heard or read.
Yeah. I mean, like as far as their tires go, like I'm sure that they'll still use Falcon tires. It's just like you won't have them as a tire sponsor anymore.
No, because I think for um for sponsor, like they actually have to run specific tires, and it's either Falcon or Nexon.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start the gamut here. Ben, we already talked about who you are and where you're located at.
Right,
Where
Adam. You're on your own for now. Hang on. Well, I'm by myself. The girls aren't here, so.
Oh, okay. Dog duties.
I mean, they're kind of important because if you don't want crap or pee, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And pee, okay, pee mats for puppies are absolutely disgusting.
yeah.
Like they play an important role, but they're disgusting. Um, besides the point. Okay, what would you call your home track? Where
Definitely, definitely Northwest Hobbies in Albany. Um, it was originally the Drift Deli here in Portland, but that unfortunately didn't last long. So Albany
Mhm.
became my track.
Gotcha. I mean, so as far as the deli goes, how like I guess how did you hear about the deli? Because
So
you and Nate just showed up one day.
yeah, so Nate and Alex Burton are the ones that got me into drifting, and Scott Atwood.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so Nate took me over to Alex's to check out drifting because I'd never done it before. They knew I was into crawlers and everything. Um, I tried an MST first, and I mean, within like 10 minutes, I kind of figured it out. And Nate was just like, "Hey, man, I ordered a D5 chassis and electronics." He's like, "Do you just want it, and I'll trade you or buy or sell it to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just give you tattoo work for it." So we traded that, and he ended up just ordering himself another D5. So, and that's how we became the D5 guys.
Yeah, so for all of you that are watching, Ben is the D5 guy, so we're gonna be talking about D5s tonight.
As I say, I'm actually pretty well known on the D5 Brotherhood on Facebook as well. So
Nice.
Yeah, I stopped commenting on like the Sakura Brotherhood page like a while ago. Like I'll see comments here and there, but it's like, eh.
yeah,
Honestly, I'm kind of tired of commenting about like certain Facebook pages because it's like, yeah, I can give my honest opinion, but then everybody either just like trashes it or is just like, okay,
yeah, it doesn't help when there's 50 other different opinions on there.
right? And most of them are all fine, right? It's just
Yeah, yeah,
no one
no,
can play nice together.
that's part of any motorsports is it's preference. You got to figure out how you want to tune your car and what you want to do and how you want to drive it.
For sure. Actually, that's more important than anything else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Because like you're thinking about getting a different chassis, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, there's lots of good chassis out there, and I've been curious. So
Hmm. I mean, that's how you get to where I'm at right now. Like literally buying chassis and testing them just for kicks.
yeah,
Um, my my Golem is totally, well, the Golem purists will hate me. Let's put it that way.
We saw that post today, or yeah, the picture that you sent the group.
Isn't it epic? Who knew? Aluminum TLR parts on my car. Oh, Ben doesn't know about it. I'm sorry, Ben. But yeah, I've got TLR parts on my drift car because it's a
oh,
race car.
hell yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a D5.
Yay!
So I'm gonna switch some things over here. Maybe I'm gonna try. It'll be ugly. I'm sorry. I don't have like any special thing. I want to share a screen. Screen number 1. Now
The beast mode.
Off, mother trucker. It. Wait. There we go. Okay. It didn't screw up. It was mean. It was me. It was all me. Have you ever had multiple screens and you're screen capping a screen and you see your mouse on that screen and then you don't know which screen that you're actually on? Yeah,
Man,
that's what just happened.
Really complicated.
Janae, I'm using a aluminum idler gear for my Golem because of Golem. Because it's an impure Golem. Okay. So Ben, what chassis do we have that are we looking at right now?
That is the D5 beast mode chassis, carbon chassis.
Okay. Did it come with a top plate or no top plate?
I don't. Okay, so I do have the original top plate. The one that's on there right now is a 3D printed one that just has a groove down the middle of it to hide wiring, basically.
Nice.
Oh, so it's literally just a make things look nice type of thing.
Yeah, and thanks to Alex Burton, that's why all my chassis are super clean looking. He did all the wiring for me.
Gotcha. But it's not pink wire.
Not on that one, no.
Okay. So let's do a rundown here. Before I do that, John, yeah, Lance, I'm one of those guys that runs the Gens Ace Red Lions. Those are kind of like my new favorite battery pack right now because it's 130C, 4,000 milliamps, and it has it's like the short battery, so 18.5 millimeters tall, so it fits in any chassis. And they're only $45 on sale, so there you go. Oh, they're 5 millimeter bullets, the ones that I have. I'm pretty sure that they have a whole bunch under 4 mil as well. Okay, let's do the rundown of this chassis. It looks like we have, well, I mean, you're looking at it too. Tell me what kind of electronics you have.
So this one was not built by me. I got it from Garrett. So it's got a hobby wing setup in it. Pretty much. I don't know too much about the electronics in this one. I literally bought it as is and as RTR basically because he was selling all of his stuff. And I gave it to Alex to clean up the wiring, and he made it all fancy looking and whatnot.
Nice.
So if you ever get rid of it, make sure you take the battery holder off of it and then sell it to me.
And this is also the only chassis that I run with a locked diff.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did you lock your diff?
So I didn't do it. Garrett did it, but he said he did it with a earplug. Good old foam earplug.
Oh, so he just stuffed it.
Yep.
That's actually kind of a cool tip. Like,
yeah, and it's easy to remove too. So
And you haven't had any problems with it, like losing, like tearing apart and disintegrating?
No, I mean, so I'm really gentle on my throttle. And I have, yeah. So far I haven't torn the earplug up,
Dude,
and he might even have stuffed like two in there. You never know.
you are.
So if
Dude,
there is
wait.
a plug, it might be acting as a dampening, like a cush drive on like
Right.
motorcycle. Yeah.
You're such a liar, Ben. You are not. You are not easy on your throttle. I've heard your cars.
I used to be on it really hard and pedal the shit out of it, and I learned to ease into it a lot more. I run my throttle on everything just full on, 100% on everything. Because I want it to be super sensitive, like a real car. I want to feel everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so we got lock diff. We've got a hobby wing motor. Which, John, remember when we went over there that one day, and I did the soldering for those motors
Yep.
originally? Anyway, besides the point, Ben, what else do we have?
um, I can't remember what. I mean, you can kind of read which servo it is. I
It's an
can't remember.
SPO2 or
Yeah,
SPO3.
and I mean, it's sitting right behind me. I don't know. Oh, and it's got a Futaba gyro in it.
It's the 450 that's in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, I made a post because someone was actually looking into buying the Futaba GYD 470 versus a V4 gyro versus a something. Oh, the versus the Sanwa gyro. So I literally post like bullet points of what each one can do, and man, man, I made the point that the Futaba gyro doesn't genuinely have endpoints,
Oh
which
yeah.
which it kind of does, but it's not like the V4, and it's not like any other like competent gyro that's out there today. And man, did I get flack for that. Like, jeez. Anyway, I'm assuming that that's the Hobby Wing ESC from Garrett as well.
Yes, yeah. It's the combo.
Mhm. So just for you guys that are watching here, not just for you, but everyone that's watching and will be watching, um, this combination is, I mean, besides the fact that it's the 10.5, but the combo itself is the motor and a XR10 stock spec, XR10 Pro stock spec, which does have boost and turbo control into it too. So I think retail is like $130, $120, $130 for that ESC. It's a really, really good ESC for those that are just getting started, because you have all of like your basic necessities of a drift car or RC drift car.
And won't kill your wallet.
No. The only thing that I don't like about it is the fact that it takes those small 25 by 25 mil fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think that one's smaller than
Wait,
25 by 25.
isn't there a new version now? I think it's the XR10 G2 or Pro G2.
So even the new ones, you have to buy an adapter to be
Mhm.
able to fit a 30 by 30 on it.
And it's what, $210 for that ESC?
I think it's just 200,
Mhm.
and then
Oh,
the
okay, man.
drift spec is like 220 or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so awesome like little setup kit there. You don't find that the Hobby Wing 10.5 is too torquey for you?
No, it's actually nice. The tuning on it is great. I mean, yeah, I have zero issues with that car. I mean, that's the one I call my comp chassis because it's super easy. I mean, you can throw so much angle on it. It's crazy.
Okay. And it looks like you have a Yokomo V1 SPO3 servo in there. So
Yes.
So, do you know yet if you prefer like faster gyro or faster servos or like slower and torquier servos?
I do actually, because my other two chassis both have Savox high speed servos in them, and they're crazy. That's why I get so much gyro flutter on my cars, and everybody hates it. But I
Yeah.
love it because, tell you the truth, you get way more response.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
So,
the gyro flutter doesn't bother me when I'm drifting. So,
so what you're really saying is that you need to move up into the Futaba world. No, I mean there's other servos out there too. Like the KO Propo is pretty decently fast too.
yeah,
Let's see. John, my buddy rips with the D5. He likes it as good as his SX3 and a lot of options for it. A lot of guys at Dark in Dallas run the D5. I mean, honestly, I don't. My only problem with
picking
D5,
up speed.
yeah,
Right,
it's
the
great at
D5 is
picking it.
yeah.
My only problem with 3 racing, and this has nothing to do with like D5, but it's more or less like the tolerance issues that it has, just because it's a cheap kit, right? You can get them running great. It's just you need to work with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they don't take much though. I figured it out. It when I first got into it, I didn't know how easy it was. I didn't realize it was actually very similar to tuning real cars almost. So yeah, I messed with it so much that I would drive it around and be doing great and be like, oh, I want to do this, so I change it, and then it wouldn't drive at all.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
John. Okay, John, we're gonna involve you a little bit here. Um,
Okay.
okay, rating 1 to 10, because we've got 3 chassis that we're gonna look at tonight.
Mhm.
What is your rating of 1 to 10 on this chassis? We'll do it completely based off of
The picture.
cleanliness of wiring. No chassis overall.
Well, the wiring is 10 because it's always clean when Alex does it.
yeah,
Um, he's been getting better at soldering. Well, he hates soldering those things because he never gets it as clean as he wants to. He still tells me that. But for the chassis, I mean, for me, I would give it like if I was getting into the hobby, I would give that a chassis a good 7 to 8. That's where I would mark it as. It's hard to find a chassis that I would rate over 8 unless it's my own chassis or a chassis that I really like, looks wise and performance wise. And that could be a plastic RDX, a plastic YD2, because they're tried and true. Um, Ben somehow can drive this as good as he can. So obviously he'd really give it more points. But I'd give it a 7 or 8, depending on the day and what's on it.
Now, Ben, is there a reason for the absolute ginormous amount of tow out?
yeah, I run a lot of tow out on all my chassis. A lot of camber as well in the front. Um, and to tell you the truth, it gives me really good angle with the steering and good Ackerman. I know a lot of people hate it though.
Well,
Don't worry,
I
don't
think it
worry.
comes down to like your preference, right? Like, because
Yeah,
we all tuned with a lot of tow outs at one point, and then depending on the track, we'd change it to more of a parallel Ackerman, and then more camber, less camber. So
yeah,
I think it's preference. Like that's why on my mini car I like high caster just because it looks cool with a high angle or high camber with the caster. It looks good when you're turning left or right because it looks like your tires laying down on the floor. So
right. Yeah. Also, I mean, I like a lot. I like to have a lot of style for my entries, and with that much toe out and camber, it literally helps me almost go reverse entry if I want to, and just go really deep on a drift.
Your wheel nuts are different colors.
Yeah, it's the same on the other side too.
Okay. While we're looking at here, though, You've got Yokomo big bores on this chassis.
Yes.
Cool. And then, is this the same 3D printed ESC rear holder that we'd use on like the RMX and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool. Are you seeing anything interesting, John? Is that foil over your magnetic, like magnet?
There was. I didn't put that there. I peeled as much as I could off. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, so the D5 they come with like those weird magnet caps on top of the
Yeah,
magnet.
they're cups, and
Yeah.
they're. I mean, they're strong as hell, but man, they kind of suck.
I think they have it on there so it's easier for the magnet to grab on the body, and then
Yeah,
it's
it
easier
just
to take
centers
the
it
body
easier.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also an MR, MR D5. So
Yeah. It's got the MR setup, but it has the RR top deck.
okay. Let's see. Is there anything else in this picture? Not really. Yeah, not really. Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you all like do you have any more rear motor D5s?
The Outbreak is rear motor. It's high rear motor.
Is it? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you can't with that picture. Unfortunately, you can't really tell.
Yeah, you can. The ESC is
Well,
clearly not a motor.
yeah, and ignore that giant, shim that I put in between the ESC and upper deck. Long story.
Now, okay.
That now.
Are those metal or is that just like a whole bunch of double-sided tape?
It's styrene and double-sided tape.
Okay.
It's for weight.
So I didn't add weight to that spot.
That is a good way. That is a good place to add weight, though.
Yeah. Well, so what I changed the motor out on it from a 10.5 to a 13.5, and because I had Alex wired up specifically for the 10.5 that was in there, I had to move the ESC to get the wires to the bolts to plug into the other motor.
Oh, so this was just a functionality issue.
Yes, and I'm also running the battery on the upper deck that way too, which actually it's kind of cool because it really makes it lean hard.
Mm-hmm. And actually,
like PCR.
Yep. I mean, like I said in a past stream, like that is where we're heading right now.
Yeah.
Like everywhere is all about that weight shift, even more so than what it was before. Lance says it's extra ESC vibration, or isolation from vibration.
Yeah, it's a damper.
Out of styrene, out of all things. Let's see. Any cool things about this chassis?
It is fairly upgraded with Racing upgrades, aluminum upgrades. The control arms, front and rear are all aluminum. It's the gold Outbreak chassis, so it has a lot of flex to it. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Has a Toro 160 ESC with a I gotta remember which I think it's the R type. Grab the damn thing, it's right here.
It's right behind you, right?
Yeah. It's a Yokomo type R 13.5 motor.
Nice.
Has big bore shocks as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that chassis actually. I do need to retune the ESC on it because it's not exactly as fast as I like. I mean, you guys know I like to go fast. But yeah, I love that chassis. I really do.
Brian in chat says that he has a 13.5 and scared to break a belt with a 10.5 on his D5. So a few questions, because
I run an 8.5 on my MR.
Well, okay, pause for a second, because the D5 is a gear drive all the way to the back,
yes,
or all the way to the gears, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Alex Burton, you nailed my point right here. Why is there a belt drive on your D5?
Oh, it's a
Now,
clone.
yeah, I have seen it on clones, and actually, I think it's cool because it's a
I
D4.
like the belt drive.
It's basically a D4 with
Yeah.
the D5 front end. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool when I first saw it.
But as far as belts go, like if it's a genuine bando belt, like or just like anyone's generic like Kevlar reinforced belt, those are hard to break. They're gonna
Yes.
fray, and that's about it. If you're breaking, then there's some like weird out of balance thing that you got to deal with. But as far as those belts goes, like I've never had an actual belt snap on me. It was always like from wear and tear.
Right.
Yeah, same with my old D4.
I didn't have my D4 long enough to have that problem. um, but yeah, run that 10.5 on it. Well, actually, experiment with both of them, and I'm gonna talk about that later too. Not motors, but experiencing everything. Okay, so here is one of your cars that has a Savic servo in it. It is a 1262 MG. Do you
Yeah.
know this? Do you know the specs on it?
No, not specifically, unfortunately. It was the first servo that I got for my first drift car, and I just liked it. I liked how it handled. Took me a little bit to get used to it and understand it, but I like them.
I'm gonna look it up really quick. I would use my computer, but then you'll see weird computer stuff.
You don't want to see your porn.
No.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, you might like cool stuff.
Hey, now we're not about that. Holy crap! Oh, wait, no, that's not it. Well, okay, so the first one that popped up is 0.05 seconds,
Jesus.
but that's not it. 1262 MG. 1260. You would think if I just searched it, it would come right up. But no. Well, apparently you just have a weird servo, Ben.
That's cool.
SC 1262 MG. Watch, Lance is gonna pull it up before anything else.
Surprised he hasn't already.
I know, right? Okay. Here we go. So at 6 volts, it's got 97.2 ounces of torque, so pretty low. But also at 6 volts, its 60-degree arc angle is 0.07. So yeah, fast. It's a race servo.
Yeah.
Right.
Super responsive.
So I mean, you could literally buy go buy a 4PM, go buy a GYD 550 gyro, and you could actually tune that out with the gyro and take it that way. But there is a high learning curve on that.
Yeah.
Anything you see on this chassis, John?
I was gonna ask him about, is that one of the flex chassis on that
Yes.
outboard? Okay.
Yeah.
It used to be Zach's, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, John, your turn.
Actually, so it was Zach's, and then Alex got his hands on it, and then I bought it from Alex.
That was right. This was the trade for the Golem, I think. That's how Zach ended up with the Golem, I think. Anyway, scale of 1 to 10, John. What is it?
8.
8?
Mm-hmm.
Why an 8?
So as cool as the chassis is, it's not one of my, my chassis that I like. They're kind of just straight, clean look. I don't really like a lot of cuts, and that's why I didn't want Golem, because I don't like how they look. Like the fully upgraded Golem. It's too cut out and hot rod flames looking.
Wait, so what you're really saying is that you don't have any sort of problem dropping $2,500 on a fully decked out? Like, if it looked right, $2,500 is nothing to you?
Nope. I mean, it's the toys that we buy, right? If we like it, we're gonna spend money on it. Like
That's true.
cameras, computers, we buy it because we want it. It's not because we can't or can't afford it. We find a way to buy it regardless, I think.
If
So
there's, well, if there's a will, there's a way, right?
exactly.
I'm horrible at buying shit for myself.
Oh, tonight's gonna be like filled with a whole bunch of cliche comments, so I'm sorry in advance.
It's that moment for you, huh?
No,
Cliche.
no, it's just because it's like so many things have like really annoyed me lately, so common sense is gonna like come around and just be there for everybody.
Okay, I had that same type of week,
Okay,
especially Thursday.
so we've got another MR here, but this is like the tried and true stock MR.
Yep. Well, okay, so it's
Isn't that
technically
your top chassis at one point?
no. So my RR, which I had Alex order me some rear bulkheads for it. That's why I haven't run it in a long time. But this one is stock, and I did run it the last competition.
Cool.
This is freaking me out.
What?
Okay, you can see my mouse cursor
Yeah.
like roaming around the screen, right?
Yeah, it's being weird.
So my mouse cursor is not on that screen.
Oh, weird.
Like it's on my OBS window. That's hilarious. That's
Yes.
broken. There's a lot of broken things with OBS today. I'm finding out. So yeah. Pretty sure John does that every time he gets out of his what? What?
He's talking about my car.
Well, I know. Okay. Definitely want an MR. It's a must, Lance. Oh geez. Okay. So tell us about the stock MR.
So this is technically an MR V1, but I bought it from Alex Burton, and he upgraded the hubs because the V1 MR comes with the female hubs, so you have to put a screw in. And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and they finally made a V2, so it comes with that upgrade already. But yeah, so it's been all upgraded to that. It has a Toro A60 Cheetah combo in it, 8.5 turn motor.
The cheetah.
That you should recognize that gyro, Adam, because you randomly let me borrow it, and I just kind of never gave it back.
Dude. Okay. Guess how much I bought that gyro back in the day for?
How much?
No, guess.
I have no idea, actually, dude. I'm so bad with prices on electronics because my ass likes cheap stuff.
Okay, so let me give you a run of the mill of what I would typically buy today, right? So a Futaba GYD 550 is $130, $120 if you buy it from Super G. A Yokomo V4 gyro is going to be $80. The Revox is going to be $120.
Damn.
Shit. I don't know, man.
The chat's really close actually.
What,
But yeah.
25?
Well, so it depends on who I got it from, right?
A long time ago, right?
Yeah, like this was when we were up in Washington.
Yeah.
Like those days. Not like Kong over at Zorik's place.
Oh, Yakima. Okay.
Yeah, over nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere between $30 and $40 is how much you could get the Sony Seiki gyro for.
Shit, that's not bad. it's not a bad gyro either. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
What annoys the crap out of me is D-Like released their same gyro just with a colored case. That was like $75 for a gyro that doesn't have any endpoints or doesn't do anything except for color. It could have endpoints. I hope it has endpoints, but man,
Oh, are you talking about the new one?
yes.
Okay. They did have another gyro that was plastic and metal that looks just like that.
Well, no, I'm talking about their colored ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Other than that, pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
You need to get rid of that fly sky, Ben.
Yeah, man, I have such a hard time spending money on myself, especially when it comes to electronic stuff, because I hate electronics, dude.
Yeah, but it could be so much better.
I know. I thought about getting the Noble
Mm-hmm.
because I played with it a couple times for other people's cars and stuff, and I like them. It's comfortable. Again, it's just, and also, you know me, I hate ordering shit. If it's right there in front of me, yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it.
Okay, so you'll buy one if I take you and hold your hand at Northwest and be like, you need this right now.
Well, do they have a Rhino?
No, they do not have a Rhino. If
Uh-oh.
if Northwest had a Rhino, I'm pretty sure some
Yeah,
other
no.
hand would have picked it up.
No.
But they do have a
Yeah,
Noble.
I'm bad at buying stuff like, when it's right in front of me, especially since I carry cash on me like a dumbass.
I mean, there is a Noble there. You just said
Yeah,
Rhino.
I should get a Noble though. I have been thinking about it. I mean, yeah, I do like the GT5 though. I mean, I haven't had any issues with it, and for $70, I mean, yeah.
You'll once you upgrade, you'll be like, how did I ever do this?
I
Like
know.
100%. It'll be like,
I know. Well, it's just like because I went from the GT3 to the GT5, and yeah, I was like, oh man, this is so much better. So yeah, I'm like, I know as soon as I get the Noble, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner?
mm-hmm. I learned. Yes, Mitch learned the very hard way of me telling him that his radio sucked almost every single time.
Hey, I grew up being told that you can be told all your shit sucks all you want. Just go eat their door.
I mean, but he was running this it was a Spectrum DX5, like the off-road, like the crawling version of it.
Yeah,
so it has
those are
all the knobs that you can mess around with, and like
yeah.
if you pack it wrong, it messes crap up.
Yeah, as I say, I've seen a lot of people try to use crawler radios per se, and yeah, they're not meant for all that stuff, to be honest. Well, they just don't work as good.
I mean, it's fine, right? Like, it's a radio, it works.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot that can like happen in happenstance. The biggest problem that I've seen with drifters and Spectrum is not actually the radio going out or anything like that. It's the spring that holds the wheel. Like that'll break.
Yeah. So I've broken a lot of radios because of that with crawling. Because working it back and forth, doing like a hill climb, and I'm like, oh damn it.
Mm-hmm. So Matt Timmer's in chat. Hey, good to see you. Well, good to see you in chat. He said that electronics have limitations, and
oh yes,
I agree. It's unfortunate that we have to live, well, like that we have to have a certain type of electronics to be competitive. But at the same time, if all you're doing is having fun, then just go have fun. Like,
yeah.
No one's keeping you from doing that. Okay, so apparently we need to do a show and tell for your bodies because you have pretty cool bodies.
I was gonna say I have a few. I found out I have 7 on accident. So here I'll start. I have
hold on,
my JZX 100, also known as the Golden Dragon Chaser.
So that is my favorite body.
I say a lot of people love this body. Yeah.
Like the contrast of it is very, very classic. Like I dig it.
Yeah. And it's funny because I just randomly got the idea driving home from drifting. I was just like, oh, I want to do another body. And I couldn't figure out what scheme I wanted to do. And it just popped in my head. I was like, oh, I got an idea.
Mhm. Right.
My newest body is EA86, which is really dark in this light. But I love this body. I wanted a Corolla so bad. I've actually wanted this real car my whole probably my whole life, to be honest with you. I don't know why I always liked it.
Mhm. So, did you see 24K's AE86?
No.
It's pretty sick. Oh,
And then the infamous 180 with the fun hood. This was like my first like legit body that I did for drifting. Because I had my 51 Ford panel truck. I don't know if you guys remember that one. That was like the first drift body that I had. And yeah, I love this body though. If I could have my real JDM car, that would be it.
right.
And then the FD digital. It's got. I can't read the comments, so
No, you're good. You're fine.
okay. Did the cage in it and everything. It's just styrene. It's not a full cage, so it's just single piece on each corner.
What did you do for the front in your front windshield there with the I don't know what to call them. They're like the wide supports.
Oh, the pillar. Yeah. So they're pillar plates from the actual rail to the body.
Mhm.
And that's just piece of styrene, a flat piece of styrene I just drilled holes in, and
Mhm.
that's all I use styrene for all my cages. And then I've got Mark II that I turned into a missile door delete from your idea. Yeah, and then I have another missile S14 front fender gone, front clip gone, all the fun stuff. It's got a cage in it as well. I'm kind of becoming a body whore. I'm really enjoying just building bodies. So Alex Burton actually just ordered 2 more S13s for me and him. I'm gonna make identical bodies for me and him to do team tandem stuff.
There you go.
So we're gonna have to start that shit.
Oh, team tandems.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
we'll see.
and of course I got lots of crawlers and stuff too. So
Gotcha. Okay. So let me get my things back in check here. Okay. You can tell a lot about someone's style by the bodies they've run. This
oh
dude looks like he knows how to party. That's you, Ben.
yeah. Yeah, I like fancy stuff, but I like the full send trailer queen cars. Give no fucks, put it into the wall and kick it out with your foot.
Right. Oh, okay. So Metallic Rave with some information about the 86 that 24K is. Let's see. The body is only 191 front and 194 rear, but with the kit it's 203 front, 205 rear, or 202 or 204, which help with chassis like the wide chassis like the Rhino Max. So I'm a little bit confused on the whole 24K thing because I've seen 3 different renderings. One is like your street style, and then like a basic wide kit, and then like a wide kit that has like the like tech screws that are in it too. So yeah, I need some clarification on that. Mitch says, "Can we maybe see what's behind you, Ben?" So
Oh my
this is really
my
cool.
garage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
with the
I can hold my phone up to it closer. I mean,
that's up to you.
Yeah.
we'll see. Let's see if I can do this without.
And
And it's all handmade.
yeah, this is recent. Like you did this last month.
This
Yeah, I
was
did
a
it
comp.
right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had it at the comp.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the Ben Pack like car lift in there.
Yep.
Did you know that you can actually get a working lift?
Yes. Everybody was like, "Oh, are you gonna buy the real one?" And I was like, "Nah. It's easy to make. It's more fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
So and it doesn't have to work."
It's just got to be sturdy.
Yep. And it holds a fully loaded chassis.
Yep. I mean, clearly, it's right there.
Well, the chassis sitting on it right now it doesn't have any electronics, but I can put my heaviest chassis on it and it still sits just fine.
Right. Right on. Oh, it's getting to that time.
It's Saturday night too.
Right? We all wake up tomorrow morning and
To
roll
go
out of bed
drift.
and then go drift.
Man, I gotta get up in the early morning and go tattoo.
You guys are meeting at like 8, right, or something like that. Something early.
No, 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, we try to. Alex likes to do stuff early, so to tell you the truth, he's the only client that I let get in the shop before noon.
Is everyone else like, hold on, I gotta prep for it?
Yeah, no, I hate waking up. It takes me like an hour just to get out of bed, and then I'm just like, all right, I'll get there.
I mean, Janae will be there. She'll be setting up those energy bombs and
Donuts.
protein. Yeah, protein donuts, protos.
Yeah.
She's calling them
Oh
protos.
yeah, I want to try those. When are
Yeah,
she
same.
is
I want to try
giving-
those, but I didn't pre-order.
Yeah, she'll always post if we need to do pre-orders.
Yeah, she
Like
said
when
she
they need.
needed to.
Usually, it's going to be like it depends on when, right? So this time it's for like Super Bowl Sunday, which, by the way,
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Bowl Sunday.
Shit, forgot about that.
Yeah, so it was like have your pre-orders in by Friday. And then if it's like on a Thursday night race or something like that, I think the deadline is Tuesday night. So it kind of varies, but 2 days seems to be the go around. So if you're in Oregon and you're on the coast and you're in Newport on the coast, actually it's in Nye Beach, isn't it? Like over by Nye Beach.
Yeah, Nye Beach, I think.
Yeah.
That's what she mentioned last time.
Mm-hmm. There is a small little store that Janae runs. It's called Bayside Nutrition. It's basically like a one-stop place for healthy energy drink. Well, more than just energy drinks, but like a whole bunch of cool stuff. That's
We need a road trip, I think.
dude.
That's actually how I met her. I just randomly went in there.
right, and then she sent me a picture of you and be like, "Hey, I met one of your friends."
she sent a picture to Casey also, and the next weekend I was walking through the pits, and he's like, "Hey, I got a picture of you this weekend." I was like, "That's not weird."
Yeah. Well, no. So one of my coworkers, I guess not coworkers, but someone that's in the same office that I am, like they stopped in and then she took a picture and sent it to me. I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, I know them. But okay, yeah, Bayside Nutrition, totally a hot spot for like good drinks that don't make you crash, that are super healthy for you, that actually do good things for you.
It tastes really good.
Yeah, more specifically, it's all about feeling good about yourself, really. Okay. I guess that's a random sponsor spot that's not sponsored. We'll call it a shout out.
Hopefully, we get donuts for it tomorrow.
Nah.
Want free donuts?
Dude, they're good donuts. I will say that. Okay, so let's move on. We're just gonna go to tech tips here. And okay. So the cliche moment, right? I warned you. I guess it's not like a cliche saying, but it's literally try everything, right? So we're in this hobby. We have so many people that are around us that like think they know what they're doing, and then some know what they're doing, and then you just have no idea, right? So like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna listen, right?
Yeah.
Like, do
Sometimes.
this, do that, do all the things, go buy the hot stuff, dude. Honestly, okay. So yeah, there's a rhyme and a reason to that style, but as far as tuning goes, as far as finding your own style, you'll never find your own style unless you start doing your own thing.
Yep.
Um, like just do it. Who cares if it makes your car drive like crap? Just do it. Then like at least you know, right? Because then you
Dude.
can always change your car back.
Yep. That's how I was. I really didn't listen to anyone when I started drifting. I figured it out myself. I wanted to make sure that I understood what I was doing, not just hand it to someone, let them do it, and then drive it.
Yeah, I mean, because your style is absolutely not my style.
No.
Like, and John's style is getting to the point where it's also not my style either. Like, we're getting to the point where I can still drive his car, but I can't like drive his car, right? And it's the same thing with you, right? Like, if I hand you my radio, it's you'll be able to drive it, kind of, but it won't be
I
like,
would say, yeah. I do that all the time. I'll just grab people's remotes. Let me drive your car. 2 laps in, I'm like figuring it out.
hmm. I mean, at the competition, right? Like, or actually, no, the better day, the day before the competition. um, I was asking Matt Timmer, just all kinds of sorts of stuff about the front end geometry. Yeah, like made some good changes, did some cool things. Car drives one way, and like, did it work? Maybe not because it wasn't my style. So, but it did make the things that like we thought it was going to do. It made those changes, right? Because I don't know if you were paying attention, but like the way that his and Andrew's car like would flick, like hard flick, like when they're
Yeah,
doing transitions, was insane.
right.
So like that is my ever forever goal right now, is just like trying to accomplish that flick. Like, and it's just like I've been up and down like everywhere trying to get it.
One
And
day
I
it was click,
right?
I think.
I mean, it's like the Jacques pop, John. Remember
Mhm.
that?
So since we're talking about tips or tech tips, right? So for Ben with the D5, what would you recommend to all the other D5 drivers as far as like where to start as far as
Mm,
tuning?
So if you have a stock D5, to be honest with you, just going as much camber and toe on the front end as you can, because they run out pretty quick. So I mean, it gives you just the right amount. I run 0 camber in the rear on that chassis, on all the chassis, and it hooks really well. Um, Shocks, well, more angle, faster you go. We all kind of know that. So I kind of run the stock angle setup from the directions, and it works pretty well. Like to have a lot of squat too, soft rear, springy front end. So, and it works great for that chassis.
mm-hmm.
And then as far as motor combo and ESC, say they started with the basics, what would you recommend to upgrade to as far as like motor turns, type of ESC, and is turbo necessity?
Ooh, the last question, turbo necessity? No, just run an 8.5 motor. Because I run all different motors in all my chassis actually, so they all respond a little differently. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go cheap electronics, it's fine. But then yeah, if you're gonna upgrade, I like the Hobby Wing. I'm not gonna lie, like it's actually very responsive. And doesn't break your wallet. You guys know me, I'm not all about expensive stuff. So
I mean, Hobby Wing does break your wallet if you're paying for color.
yeah, yeah,
Like
Uh,
it annoys me. Like it bugs me so much that their drift spec ESC has less amperage, right? And yet it still costs more than the Pro, like
yeah,
the XR10 Pro. Matt's recommending steering first. I agree. Steering is like
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's what, like I said, if you zero everything out, toe and camber, it's, well, not zero, but go full camber, full toe. Um, it the steering really gives you a lot of freedom. You definitely have to run at least a 6 millimeter offset wheel though, or else
Hmm.
you get a lot of rub.
That's pretty standard on all chassis, though. Like
Yeah,
a
I've
minimum of
noticed
six.
that too.
Like Yokomo is basically, I mean, they built it for their wheels, right? That's why they only offer 6 millimeter tires or offsets. I mean, Rev D only just came out with their 8 millimeter like high traction tire, high traction wheels. Um, so yeah, like we're getting there. Um, Trying to make cars narrow is hard, hard. Okay, um, but so the D5 is an interesting thing, right? Or I mean, like it's a kit. You can't buy it as an RTR, right? Which we'll
Yeah,
actually talk
no,
about RTRs later. So, like, I mean, electronics for it. There's
you
two ways that you
that's
go.
kind of what I like about it though, especially if you're a beginner, because one, you get to build the chassis, so you kind of get to understand it a little bit more while you're building it, and then you have to buy your own electronics, so it forces you to learn about what electronics you're buying, and it makes you ask questions.
Hmm. For sure, for sure. Speaking of electronics, though, John, not our John, but John in chat is saying, but do you guys run Blaze, Trace, 5G, and Accutron on your Accuvant setups? No, I'm not that baller. Like I might have that setup, but I don't have all the like bells and whistles to it. Mainly because I don't know exactly what they do. I do run a cap, like that's fine. I run the Chevalier and the turbo caps. I don't find the extra like $40 because the Blaze is like an $80 capacitor.
Dang.
I
Yeah,
know.
see, I didn't into this. I think the most expensive capacitor I bought was $20.
I mean, no, also speaking of that, right? Like Accuvants might have some pretty killer capacitors, but there are other capacitors that are out there as well. Like Yeah Racing has one, um, Onisiki has one, Yokomo has their non-polarity caps, and Hobbywing has their non-polarity caps too. So there's plenty of caps that are available that are not at that price point, unless it's the turbo. Because I mean, the turbos, like I said, is like a $40 ESC or $40 capacitor. So it's, I mean, it's kind of how purist you want to be with the Accuvant setup.
Oh, Ben, we've got another question for you. What's your opinion on tires? Because I know a lot of people kind of get butthurt or annoyed when you tell them, "Hey, you got to run a specific tire on a specific track." What's your opinion on tires? Like, say, like let's just say Northwest. It's required that you run a DRC.
Hmm.
What's your opinion on new DRC versus like a DRC that's been ran outside or been ran on P-tile versus concrete? Like, do you have opinion on performance
Um,
wise?
I love DRCs actually. They're great for every surface. I've literally run them on every surface, even asphalt. Obviously, if it's really chunky asphalt, it's not going to work that great. Um, but I mean, it's nice, and if they're used, it depends on the surface. P-tile, you get a lot of grip, but obviously it's because it's digging into the P-tile and will destroy it eventually.
But but if you run those tires on an indoor P-tile track, someone's gonna be yelling at you.
Yeah, yeah, because it's going to be your line's going to get
Well,
noticeable.
and that's what I'm saying, right? Like, do you prefer like a slightly used um tire on like
Yes,
because right now we're on polished concrete, right?
yeah.
Would you prefer having basically the question is, would you want everybody to run the same tires, same spec tires, like clean, only spec tire on polished concrete, or would you be okay with some slightly used tire on like performance wise, not because it's
Right.
track specific or like
Um, tell you the
What's your
truth,
opinion on that?
uh, slightly used because then everybody's got a little bit more hook. Everybody can control their car a little bit better. I New tires are still icy to me. I mean, they're fun, but then after everybody's different at that point. Everybody's got to get used to the car again,
Mhm.
and yeah, so a little bit of used tire is nice. And yeah, it just helps everybody handle their cars better and be able to drive.
Okay. On that note, um, so would you rather have everybody be on the same level as far as tires and open electronics? So you can run 8.5, 13.5, 17.5.
Yes, yeah, because motor I've noticed has nothing to do with it. Like you can have the fastest damn motor, and if the dude you're chasing is slow, that fast motor doesn't do anything but make you eat their door. So
I mean, it
uh,
doesn't even do that. Like,
yeah,
but like I
yeah,
will
it
say,
can make you break loose a lot easier, and you don't have any traction. So
mm,
yeah, everyone running the same tire, like and like kind of same wear on the tires. Yeah, I prefer that.
mhm.
Cool.
Like, are you trying to make like, is it the argument of is it okay to run different tires if that's your method of catching up or keeping the pace, John?
Well, partially. So you know how a lot of people when you're going to a track and just when a track owner or like a group says, "Hey, we're all gonna run DRCs, or we're all gonna run Rev Ds, or whatever LF5s," a lot of people whine, and it's like, "Hey, I'm already paying $10 to run on your track all day, and then I
Why
gotta
do I
buy."
need to? Mm,
So basically, I'm trying to clarify that for people. There is a reason why we want to run the same tires, same quality or useness, I guess, or newness.
Right.
That way, we're all on the same page when it comes to tandems, and it comes down to driving. And I can attest to that because I was once the whole, okay, I gotta run the stickier tire so I can keep up and this and that. But then you're at the door, or you're like, I prefer my car to slide more, but then you're too slow because you're sliding more instead of
Yeah.
actually driving the track. So yeah, I'm just trying to clarify that for people, or trying to educate some people why we ask everybody to run the same tires.
mhm.
And
Uh,
yeah.
that
Um,
way, we're all on the same level. We're not. And then, of course, if you're on a certain track like P tile, it kind of helps protect the P tile a little bit. So longevity wise, it lasts a lot longer. And
yeah.
we don't need to mop too often.
And yeah, for comps, I would say yeah, everybody should definitely run the same tire because then it puts everybody on more of a level playing field. Because again, motor really doesn't mean shit to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, so
Like I know you say that, but at the same time, there's so much more to that world,
I
man.
know, I know.
Like right,
Well, I mean, so I grew up. My grandpa and my dad drag raced when I was a kid, and my grandpa always drilled it into my head that you can have the biggest, baddest motor out there, but if your suspension isn't tuned right and your foot's not tuned right, that car ain't gonna go down the track for shit. So
yep. I mean, constantly you'll hear us talking about tuning your finger.
yeah, yeah, literally, and
Mm,
and telling this hand to stop steering so much.
mm. Yeah. So I mean, I just want to touch on motors right now because like I'm now getting to the point where I've had more experience with more motors and very very different motors.
Mm.
For me, the Yokomo type 10.5 type R motors, I hate them. Like the Hobby Wing D10 motors, I hate them. Like
Wait,
it's
D10 or D10?
D10,
I think
the
I have it.
color, the colorful
Okay,
one.
I can be a snob right now because I'm running Hobby Wing setup on the mini car. And other than that, I got warm today. I don't really have much of a complaint at the moment. Maybe I have to drive it more, but I can't hate on Hobby Wing at the moment because that's what I'm running.
I mean, my problem with them is just specifically the motors. They don't have enough torque for what I want to do with the car. Like they, unless you're revving them to 100,000 RPMs, they absolutely don't have the torque that I need to like get my car to actuate the way that I want. So that's where I'm at right now. That's why Super G is also selling their Fledge, the AccuVance Fledge motor with the torque rotors. So like it's a toss up because
Okay,
for
well,
our group, it was like go buy an Agile, upgrade the rotor to the torque rotor, and call it a day. So yeah, yeah.
yeah, he need a test and tune for that tomorrow.
Well, I mean that's what Alex Plekin was doing today. Um,
Today or
or
yesterday?
yesterday, probably yesterday.
I don't know
Um,
if he actually tuned. I think he drove more than
no,
actual tune,
so
but then.
he had a hobby wing motor in
Mhm.
his car, except he swapped out the 13.5 stock rotor from it into the 10.5 can.
Hmm.
So he effectively had a more torquey rotor than what comes with the 10.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did tell me about that. Never
Mhm.
mind. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Hobby Wing does sell the torque rotors separately, right? It's just now you're buying an expensive. Well, they're like $120 motor, right? And then you
Mhm.
have to go buy another $40 rotor just to make it what you want. But I don't know. Like people like those motors too. It's just well, it's all preference.
Yep.
Hey Alex, you're in chat now. Did it get rid of that like turbo anti-lag type of thing? Because like one problem that we were noticing with his car is that like once you hit turbo, um his car would just go like sliding and skating for like an extra 5 feet of what you didn't want. I know
Huh.
it's weird, right?
Hmm.
And the best that I can explain it is that like you know how like there's a setting that you can like how fast your turbo ramps down as well.
Yeah.
Well, it felt like it was just coasting forever.
Huh.
So yeah, I didn't like it. And
I mean,
actually, that it's the same thing that I'm feeling with the Yokomo motor as well. It's doing the same thing. So
oh, I got a topic for your next video, Adam. Can you do a hobby wing setup and tune?
no, unless
In,
you give it to me, no.
in Korean. It has to be in Chinese though.
Mm-mm. No, I already gave that crap last time. Did you hear? Were you watching the last stream, Ben?
No, I actually missed it.
Okay, so short of it is that on a YouTube channel, or on my YouTube channel, I got a comment on one of the videos saying, "Do you have Chinese translations
Mm.
for one of my videos?" I was like, "Welcome to my world."
I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, it's also ironic that I'm Asian and Chinese, but I don't speak Chinese,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah, when I saw that comment, that's why it was funny.
I mean, maybe no. Okay, Alex pulling it out now. Pulling the rotor out now. Okay. Okay. It's okay because he's got a AccuVant set up now. So he'll be having fun with that. Oh, did I just lose? Are you
What?
guys you're
I'm
there, right?
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
That's
Ben was
why.
just mouthing something then. Oh.
Oh no, it's talking to my son. Sorry.
Dude,
Trying
you don't yeah, you don't have to be discreet. Like just
my bad.
I mean, I walked off with the dog a few times because
It's true.
it was just barking. Oh,
okay.
you have a question on the notes? Are we that far ahead yet?
For the battery?
No, how to test the solder bridge on your motor.
Oh yeah, so that was my other tech tip that I randomly came across. I guess not randomly, but came across today as I was helping Mitch, because we were putting a motor fan on, right? And one of the things that we were worried about is creating like contact between the metal fan mount that we were using. Um, so the whole idea is how to test if your like motor has a solder bridge or just like something that's crossing the connections. So if you have a motor in front of you or nearby, um, if you spin it, like it'll spin pretty freely, right? You know what a motor feels like. You know what a free spinning motor feels like. Well, so if you cross um two of the connections, like the A and the B solder connections, So just like take a wrench and you spin it, it'll feel like it just has like inconceivable drag brake on that rotor. So just that is the other tip
Yeah.
on how
Yeah,
to test.
Since you mentioned that, we actually used to do that when we used to fly airplanes to test how torquey the motor is for the propeller that we're using.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, you said that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But we also used to do that for torque tests if the motor has plenty of torque or not enough torque for the prop that we're gonna use.
So wait, how do you do that?
Well, same thing. You cross the two wires and then you feel the motor, like how much resistance it's got.
Right. So what? I guess what does that mean? Like, what are you looking
So,
for?
so like if you're depending on the prop size that you're using, some
Mm-hmm.
motors are only able to spin a prop depending on their size. So if they're a smaller motor, you can't put a 12-inch prop.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight.
You'll overheat the motor. But if you're running a small motor that's got a lot of torque, then you can go bigger on the prop according to the suggested prop to use with that motor. So
So
like
you, so like
so if
you go.
So if you can upsize on a prop. So if your motor only suggests you can only run like say a 4-inch prop with a 3 blade, you can actually go 6 to 8 inch prop 2 blade, which will
Mm-hmm.
give you a bit more speed and power.
So I guess how does that relate to crossing the motor wires then?
Because when you're crossing it, that's what you're checking for. You feel the resistance if it's crossed.
Right, but you're gonna feel the resistance no matter what. So is there a leverage point?
Yeah, there's a higher resistance point that you can.
Right. So are you spinning it at the edge of the prop or like in the middle of the prop or like
Just the motor, just a feel. So if the motor feels a little harder to turn, then yeah, you can run a higher prop. But if it's the resistance is not as high, then you can't run a higher prop. That's what I was told, and I followed it when I was
I
flying
mean,
airplane.
sorry, I'm still having troubles because there's no like quantifiable number behind that. Like,
Exactly. I was just saying that hey, we used to.
okay. Okay. So those are your tech tips today. Do you guys have any other tech tips?
I don't.
Have fun. That's a
That
big one.
that's not a tech tip.
It sure is.
I mean, turning off and on your stuff like before you do anything, that's a tech tip.
Always radio first, then car off first, and then radio.
John, we're gonna talk about the Red Cat actually right now.
Oh yeah.
So more like specifically Red Cat and then like how it fits in like RTRs and stuff like that. The problem is that I don't have access to an actual Red Cat. I've only watched videos and so forth. So
Hey, Red
well,
Cat, we need a chassis to review for our next stream. Send us
Yeah,
one.
send it to me. I have a red cat, so just not a drifter.
I mean, the cool thing about Red Cat, right? I think at least is that they're out of like they're actually designed and are they manufactured in the States too, or is it
I believe
just
so.
I can't confirm.
right? But yeah, like they're in the States. um, so the RDS. Let me see if I can download a picture because apparently I can't screen share a tab. Red Cat RDS. It's an interesting looking thing. The body is hilarious. I'm okay.
So
Hey,
let me
it's
talk about the body. The body looks like that new Z or 400Z that Nissan came out with.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was
A
at
little
first.
bit more round and less 400Z.
hold on.
Well, because I think they're worried about the whole trademark thing.
Yeah, that makes
No,
sense.
100%.
They didn't pay for licensing.
Yeah, hold tight. I know that the screen is weird. Okay, not weird anymore.
Yeah, it's like a mix between the 400 and the 370.
So if you look at it just the right angle, I'm also getting like Vet and Mustang vibes.
Yeah, it's like they tried to mix every body they could.
Well, your
Got a
if you
DeLorean
look
rear
at
end.
your actual 400Z,
It's a
the
400. It's a
that,
yeah. It's a Z rear end. Like that's undeniable.
and it does look like a Mustang.
Like
Um,
it's the funniest thing. Like oh look, we got the Super G picture.
right. So it's weird because everybody's talking about this chassis, right? Because it is the first Red Cat rear-wheel drive drift car. They didn't say, "Hey, you got to counter steer." They didn't do the whole. It's basically they skipped that step and just went, "Hey, we're gonna do a rear-wheel drive because we can do it." Um, Another thing that I liked about it, just seeing some pictures, this is the only kit that's RTR, or sorry, it's not a kit. It's the only RTR package that it comes with a carbon fiber chassis.
Oh no shit.
Yes.
So yeah,
Huh.
so and I mean, looking at the picture right now in front of me, it's got nice looking turnbuckles. Everything's adjustable, so they skip the MST stage where you got to buy all that.
Right.
Um, a couple things that I noticed right away is how it kind of looks like a YD2 chassis, like the shape a little bit. Um, the belt crank and the front end, bulkhead wise, it's kind of styled. Basically, it's kind of modeled to an existing chassis, but I'm not mad at it because they made the shape better, or not better, but different. Um, the motor looks similar to a YD2 with a high mount motor. Like, so if you're looking where the motor is, basically where you put your just below the motor in front of the transmission, that brace looks like a YD2E
Yeah, it's totally
or
white.
yeah. Well, that but for a RTR and carbon chassis, can't be mad at it. Now,
No.
will it drive well? I'm gonna say this: any car can drive well,
Yeah.
depending on how it's tuned. Because
Tune and seat time.
if you look at the rear arm too, they did what Revdy did, which you have an option to flip them, or not flip them, but ro- rotate them around. So
That's
you
not what Rev D did. Sorry. That is not what Rev D did. That is what people just started doing to fix their roll center.
well, either way, it's there, right? So the tunability on the chassis looks promising. So the whole thing, promising setup. Um, I think it could be really good or it could be really bad. We
Okay.
want
How much
to
more? 400 for the RTR?
400 for the RTR, and I think it's something fairly cheap with the builder's kit. Okay, I'm just trying to find like a good top, yeah, like something that I can,
like we can see what's actually there.
yeah.
A main has one.
Here we go. Okay.
Damn, I might order one just to check them out.
Okay, so one, the tires that come on this car are crap.
Oh, you can tell just by looking at them.
I think there's so the tires. I think it's the those Fire RC or whatever tires.
Firebrand. No, Firebrand tires are actually pretty fire. They're just stupid fast.
Well, I don't know, like if you'd call that fire, like quote unquote fire.
Yeah, come on. Okay, so out of all respect, though, like
No, it's
it,
direct steering, according
yeah,
to John.
yeah. I
Man,
mean,
all the
look,
adjustments on those knuckles, that's awesome.
Right?
which is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra shit, but it gives you a lot of different adjustments.
Okay, 240 for the build kit. So
That's not bad.
No.
I mean,
Whereas, yeah,
that's YD2S territory. And then the RMX build kit is like 110.
Now I gotta look at the shock, see if it's worth it.
So the shocks are kind of like big bore. Well, I don't know if they're big bore, but they're
No,
aluminum
okay.
bodied.
So so the kit package, the shocks looks like crap. It looks better on the RTR package.
Um, so usually when like watching the videos about this car, about this kit, um, direct steering, right? So they pulled that from Yusukani. They pulled that from well, more Yusukani than from the MKS, because the servo arm that they use is very. Actually, the servo arm is interesting because they did it in a way where the oh, let me see if I can find a picture of it.
Oh, can I talk about the battery mount?
Yes.
Dude, that looks legit. I mean, I don't like the curve, but I see where they're going with it. I think that's super flexible that it just holds the battery and then you can just easily fold it down. And it could
I'm
be,
sorry. I'm taken back. This is coming from the guy that didn't want to buy an SX3 just because of the battery mount.
but that's what I'm saying. I like this one better.
I mean, stylistically, it's not very stylistic, which is hilarious because that comment just came from you, John.
I mean, do we want to pull a picture of what the YD2 SX3 battery hold mount looks like? It's a $600 chassis, and they have a piece of plastic block that holds a battery.
The MD1 is a $700 chassis, and it tells you in the directions that you need to shave plastic out of the rear uprights. So, come on.
Hey, I'm just saying. Remember what we talked about earlier? I like the chassis a certain way before I give them points a certain type.
Okay, so you can't see it, right? But the servo horn is actually made. It's a multiple piece servo horn, just like Yusukani did it, except the point at where they extend for Ackerman adjustment. Um, Actually, just for the servo arm, uh, theirs is like farther down. You can still lengthen the Yusukani one, the original Yusukani one, but this one's to actually adjust the Ackerman. Um, does not have cool Ackerman adjustment like the MKS steering rack or the Rhino steering rack, and definitely not the Yusukani steering rack, because Yusukani you can do it with 2 screws. Um, Red Cat is like actually on the servo horn, so take your pick. That will play a factor in your it'll play a factor into the torque of your servo though, and like the actual effect of your gyro. So that's something to pay attention to. So that'll be interesting. Matt,
So
you didn't follow the directions, Matt.
there was no direction.
It's there. Don't make me pull out the instruction manual.
All right, so my opinion are based on pictures that I saw online when it got released and what I looked at today on the A-Main website. So don't hate me for what I said.
No, not all. Like, I mean, there is some promising things about this car, right? So
Well, and that's
the
what I said. It could be, it's promising, is what I said. And for a kit that's a RTR for 400 with a carbon chassis, I'll take it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I would suggest that for a beginner, definitely.
right. So ESC and motor, I'm almost certain that it's like the same exact thing that MST is using. At least the ESC. It's the same exact Hobby Wing ESC that is cheap, right?
Now, do we know if it's censored? Because I am missing a sensor.
It's sensorless, right? Because that's gonna keep things cheaper. But MST did fine, right? Like their motor ESC combo, like it's smooth. It's fine for what it is. You just don't have like the turbo to like kick it over, right?
Those wheels look cool though.
Oh,
Six
I
spoke.
mean, yeah, like standard.
Standard 6-spoke.
Yeah. But here's the cool thing: the gyro
It's the
has
only
has endpoint adjustment.
Oh damn.
I didn't know. How do you? I can even see that. It's a GX1. So
I've
it's the
watched a lot of videos, okay? But yeah, it's like a hex mod or something like that, servo and gyro. But yeah, like I don't know about the servo, but it's definitely not like the junk thing that MST includes. Um, but yeah, the servo and the gyro are pretty impressive.
so how would we rate this car? Adam.
I'm not there yet. This is also the only car that comes stock with magnetic mounts.
Oh no shit! Wow, they got on that
Oh,
train.
okay. I'm sorry.
Don't lie.
This this is the only RTR that includes
Yeah, I was gonna say.
stock
Yeah,
magnetic
I
plates.
got what you meant.
Um, so cool, right? Like they're doing a lot of things that are right. I do think that like a lot of things were inspired by other cars, which is totally fine.
Oh yeah.
It feels
All
like
right.
what Kyosho did when like they were coming out with a B6, which they totally messed up. But that's besides the point.
All right. My question is, where do you see the magnets?
So it's this thing right up here.
Oh, that's
Okay.
the actual magnet.
Yeah, and then the
Oh, and then the rear one. Yeah.
yeah, so this
Yes, side.
intercooler, this little front radiator thing here is the
Oh, so
support.
there's okay, got you.
And then on the rear, this whole diffuser stays there. Like the magnet is on top of that. Or the metal piece stays
Huh.
there.
Got you.
Like ultimately, it's a concept car. Like that's where
Yeah.
we're at with the body. It is a concept car look.
I mean, it's just a shell though. You can change that real quick.
And it includes the body mounts so that you can do that.
All right,
On
so
a
I
whim.
found a picture with the body with the stickers on there. From Big Squid RC. The body, they made it look like a Hellcat thing with the RDX on the side. So I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still looks cool. It looks like it's got Lambo front bumper from the little side there. I can't point at it, but you'll see it
This
now that
thing?
I know.
That like the
That one.
chart.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
look at that one. There's the cat or whatever is back there.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it? And then
Yeah.
on the front bumper above the lip or diffuser, those looks like the Lambo front end grill, like the Huracan.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see it?
But wait, the Huracan?
Yeah.
Huracan.
The Huracan! The Huracan!
Well, it's a copy, right? So we can't say it properly. All right. Other than that, did you guys notice the rear bumper or diffuser?
Yes.
So it's got that rally brake light look, but there is a little tow hook or toe spot on there.
A little toe spot. What do you mean toe spot?
So it's on the right of the diffuser. Like there's a little
Like looking
tow
from the
hook.
back of it?
Yeah, you see it now?
No, not yet. Oh. Like
So
here.
it's the same tow hook type that
Oh,
Subaru.
I see. Yeah.
You see it now? So it's pretty scale.
Wait, we're calling it scale just because of a toe hook?
Hey,
Like-
You're a toe hook,
we
bro.
have
It's
to do
scale.
I mean, it's scale enough.
okay, so
Good thing I got toe hooks on all my bodies.
do you really?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay, so realistically, like the car itself, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
It's a $400 RTR. It's carbon. They call it comp spec, which that catches me off guard, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, Scale Science already did a video on it. They showed kind of like how out of whack the initial tune was, like how like the rear tires had like positive camber, but it's all fixable, right? It's all there, so you can fix it.
Mhm.
So they did that. They did a tune. They fixed they put actual like wheels and tires on it, and yeah, it's fine. Like they showed the video, it was drifting around fine. Every single other video that I've seen is like some random like very very amateur drift person. Like drift is not their thing. They just have it to
Just
do the review.
trying to make a video.
You know, so they have the content.
Yep. And like even the A main video, right? um like both videos where I saw the car driving, like it was very very kind of like a hard sell for me to just say like let's get that as an RTR, right? So my final thoughts on this is that is it an RTR? Sure. Is it the best RTR experience that you can have? Probably not. Probably not. Um one of the videos actually did like a comparison of like the parts, the fact that it has like a carbon chassis where like the RMX does not have a carbon chassis, it's just plastic. And like
Yep.
there are those things that you can compare, but there are also benefits of having a plastic chassis versus carbon, right?
Yeah.
You won't feel bad for going outside and ripping it outside. Let's see. What is the side view from a rearward angle? Okay, so the rear quarter panel. The classic car show picture. Oh, it's backwards. You're gonna deal with it being backwards. um, yeah, more 400Z or the Z vibe is what I'm getting here. So let's talk about like how it actually fits into the world of drift, because it's cool that we have a new RTR that we can bring into the world and like see it run and be a part of the community. But uh, let me put back the screen. Yeah, I need to find a better way to do that. um so yeah, like what does this mean for drift? As far as drift, I see that it's just a newcomer, right? Like it brings competition and value to our group, right? It's something else. Now, granted, when you would typically see a red cat, you kind of turn and run the other way. At least that's me, right? What about you guys?
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I started with like that was my first crawler was a Red Cat. It was the Gen 8. So I mean, that was what introduced me to like the actual hobby of RC.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I also noticed that it was way different than everything else. Way different.
Mm-hmm. Right. What about you, John?
So I would say knowing what we know now, as far as like what chassis to get and whatnot, I think this gives us another option. I would say it's a way that the manufacturer are actually listening to some of the things that we say. Sorry, my screen's weirding me out because I'm looking at the side and my camera's in the center. Um, so it's an option for the new guys that are trying to get into this. You know, $400 RTR. Um, it's got your essential carbon, cool. Um, it looks like a newer 400Z body, so cool. The cool factor is there. So like if I was new and I'm trying to buy a car and don't know anything better, be like, oh man, that's a new car. I want to buy that, and it looks cool. And then you have your guy like say Adam, be like, oh, this is what you can do to make it better. So I think it opens up more options for the new guys that want to get into it and don't want to spend, you know, $1,000 to make one car as cool as our cars are.
Yeah.
Now, would I buy it for me? Probably not. Would I recommend it to a new guy? Yes, but I will say, hey, there are better options for a little bit more money. Or that guy is selling a Yokomo because he wants to get a Gom or he's bored with what he's got. Things like that. So to me, I'd give it a 7 for cool factor.
What about you, Ben?
I mean, yeah, 7, 8. It's cool for a beginner. It's got a lot of adjustment. The carbon is cool. Definitely different for an RTR. So yeah, 7 or 8.
It's hard for me to rate it that high. Like if we're doing a scale of 1 to 10, maybe just because of like it's not a
Well,
perfect chassis out of the box.
but for
Like
the price though too. I mean,
right, the price value is there, right? And
yeah,
that's always going to take effect. But like MST, they take all of their RTR cars and they drive it on their test track and then put it in the box, right? So like that's what I'm talking about. It's like you can buy the MST RMX and drive it on the track right out of the box. Like
yeah, it's not seat time.
yeah, it's seat time, right? But like you, me, or John, right? We'll all be able to drive that car pretty decently without any like tuning mods. If you have to just sit there and do a basic tune first before you can do anything, that's a hard sell for a new person.
Yeah, because it's just thrown together and thrown in the box basically.
Mhm.
And if you don't know anything, you're not gonna be you're gonna think it's garbage. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm not into this.
Mhm. And like that right there, if you have an immediate like bad response or just like a bad first impression in terms of your drift car, like you think that it's a bad investment, that's one. And you'll probably think that it's not something that you're going to be able to do, right?
Yeah,
Cuz like if you don't have community, right? That's going to be the biggest problem out of everything.
yeah.
Like if you
Just like
have no one.
my
Well,
my and Alex's buddy Cameron, he was trying to get his D4 sliding, and we're like, no, dude, like you don't even know how to properly drift. You're not gonna be able to learn with this. And then I got him to get the MR.
so here's how I'm looking at this, right? So I'm comparing it to your RTR MST that has no adjustment, right? So yeah, out of the box, you don't really have an option but learn how to drive it.
Right.
Where when people see us drift and they see our cars with adjustability and shiny parts, they're like, "Oh, I want something a little bit more with shiny stuff on it."
Yeah.
It's kind of it, it helps sell the product because there's adjustability and of course the styling is there. That's why I'm rating it at 7 because it's a RTR 400. You have adjustability. And then, of course, if you're buying a drift car and you really want to get into it, I'm sure a lot of us, well, people now will at least do a YouTube search, right? Like,
Right.
this is, yeah. So they'll see it. Um, and then with us there, like, when they, like, say some guy bought it and it's like, hey, it's not driving right to one of us. Instead of us going, well, this is wrong, it's like, oh, let's check your adjustments. Let's check your camber. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then boom, it's dialed, right? So I'm giving it a 7 because they at least thought about making or having the adjustments there versus not having it and that you have to buy another $40 kit to make it adjustable.
Yeah.
It's $20.
Sure. But either way, it's just, or you have to wait for it because your local hobby shop doesn't carry those parts.
So, okay, sidestep here. Y- Yokomo the Yokomo RTR is just it's a YD2Z now, right? Or YD2 RDS, right? But it's saying John's saying that it has friction shocks. I haven't seen a Yokomo kit come out with just friction shocks.
We would have to do a research on that. I think I'll let me contact one of the guys because I think they bought a kit, like one of those RTRs with a.
Yeah, every single YD2 RTR that I've seen that's come through the shop has always been just the YD2E, like regular oil shocks. So I'm curious about that. Casey throwing parties on the yeah. Oh, wrong chat. Sorry, different chat. Now, is it Peter and John? Is it just 100% no oil that came in it? Or do they expect you to run no oil in it? Or can you fill them with oil? Because those are two very, very different things, right? Like Tamiya, right, and a TTO2. That is a friction shock. That's why I didn't even bother to build them. Anyway, so I mean, okay, so let's add some complication to the equation here, right? So
Mhm.
we also have the RDX that came out, and John, you're driving it right now. Well, not right
Yep.
now, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So you're telling me that you would buy the kit that has all the functionality, but the RDX
Now,
is.
are you asking me as a beginner or as
I'm asking you as a
now?
skilled driver right now, right? Because the skilled driver is going to give the better answer on this.
Okay.
So you're telling me that you would buy a $400 RTR or a $240 builder's kit that has adjustability, right? Over the RDX that has no adjustability other than the motor position.
That's
And the RDX I can guarantee will drive better.
well, so like I would do my research before I'd buy it. That's one. And since I have knowledge, obviously, since I've already looked it up and watched all the YouTube videos, I'm gonna buy a RDX.
But it has no adjustability.
It doesn't matter. With the knowledge that I have, I know that the RDX, and from the research that I've already done with it, I know that it will drive better. So why would I buy a kit that is new, untested, untested with the knowledge that I have?
Okay, spin it.
So, and that's what I'm saying. If I already know that this product right here will drive better, why would I buy a blingy product that's I don't know if it's gonna run right?
Because it has all the functionality.
Yeah, but I already know this one's gonna work and this one's not tested.
But you didn't know that until you actually drove it.
No, but all the reviews and everything else, it's been a proven product. And we drive like I would buy a Yokomo over MST or RDS.
I mean, I would never touch their RTR, the Yokomo RTR.
That's what I'm saying. I'll buy the kit over like it's a loaded question because you're asking a guy that already has knowledge. But if I was new, like keyword beginner when I said it, or new that wants to get into it,
So, hold on. How many times I can't count how many times I have seen a YD2 come in to the shop with their front arms, their lower front arms flipped upside down. How many times have I had to do that? It's ridiculous.
I actually had to deal with that today. I had to tell a guy, hey, those are upside down.
Right.
So
And okay, given the fact that the RDS is a ready to run, you don't have to worry about that, right? But there are so many other things to mess up. You can mess up the camber, you can you can be hot boy and do like 15 degrees of camber on all sides, on all corners, right? Just to make it look cool.
Elliot.
but so okay, so we're talking about the RTR, right? So with my argument, um, with the RTR RDS, if you're new, you want to do all the fun things to it. You might be getting into the drifting or the RC thing, completely not wanting to be competitive or wanting to drive something as fast as everyone else does. It's just it looks good and you're like, oh, I can camber the wheels like all those cars I see. That might be cool to you. You might want to do that. And you could do that with that kit.
I
No,
mean,
I'm not sponsored by the way. I'm not Red Cat sponsored. I'm just trying
I
to make
know I know earlier in the stream I said try everything, but there's like
That's me.
there's a right and a wrong way. I think Steve Fujita said it in one of his It's probably like a Facebook post or one of his blog posts, but essentially, like, if you give a person a chassis and it's completely set up the wrong way, but he still learns to drive it, then the expectation is that's what they know, right? They have no guideline, no idea of what the car is actually supposed to do or supposed to feel like. So hence all of the adjustments, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm not saying that they're a bad thing. I just think it's going to hinder someone that just isn't in the know. Whereas when you have an RDX in your hands, the kit is like stupid proof. There are no adjustments that you can
You
do
still
or
have to
make.
put it together.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
So,
you
don't
screw up
strip your crap out.
there.
mhm. Well, I think either way, like, so basically, um, oh crap, hang on.
I mean, what it comes down to in the end is price, right? Because you have a $400 RTR, like that's said and done with a brushless motor, with an ESC, with everything. So like you're never gonna beat that because like the last stream we did a comparison. I think it was the last stream where like we have the MST $400 or $390. Now we have the Red Cat $400. The cheapest thing that you can build as a YD2 um is like $600, 600, $700. And those are electronics that I would, so not your radio, Ben, but the Noble. So there is cost there, but at the same time, it's like I wouldn't feel bad giving this setup to like a new person, right? I know that we can get from point A to point B without any troubles. So yeah, like yeah.
Okay. So I just want to address. There's a couple of things on the chat. Uh, Janae, yeah, the RDX is the one that you drove last weekend. And
Jake
then
has that, right?
Well,
yeah,
John has it right now.
I have it
Oh,
right now.
oh, okay, okay.
And then Brandon said RDX was tested extensively before it was made to, or before it was mass produced. Um, so it's hard because we know too much, right? We know a lot of things, and um, from what I've learned this week of my own self again, um, I show up to a track, and you're driving, and this is when I was testing the RDX. The RDX is solid; it drives well, but then it didn't drive like I wanted it to, as good as I was expecting it to. So I switched back, drove my car, got it to tune right. And then I was like, it's still not, like, I'm still comparing the two cars, right? And then
Two
I switched.
two very different cars.
Yeah.
You're
So,
trying to compare an MC1 to an RDX.
yes.
Two very different cars.
So, anyways, to the point. Um, so I got my MC1 driving the way I wanted to. So I was driving that the whole time. Um, there's a guy that had one of the Midnight Mini chassis. The thing was
Garrett's.
not driving. And I'm like, why not? And I remember seeing that car, it drove well, and I drove it on the P tile at Northwest, and the gyro was turned all the way down. And the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't know I could adjust that."
Isn't that
So,
hilarious? It's
mhm,
just a single plug.
yep.
And
Well,
like time and time again, I'll get RMX owners that'll come up and be like, "What's this extra plug for?" Well, you can control your gyro, except I don't know how to do that with the crappy radio that they included.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then, so we got that fixed, and he was, learning how to drive it. And then he's like, "Dude, this is like night and day different." I'm like, "Yeah, there's more tuning that needs to be done, but start with that." And then last night there was another guy. I guess he's been drifting for a few weeks, maybe a month or so. He had a MST, um, and then he had a GPX or G1 gyro.
Hmm.
He's not getting full steering, and I didn't know how to work on a thing, and somehow it worked after I did what I thought was to do. And I was like, oh, I remember those times where I can answer people's question, and then, or I remember those when I was that guy not knowing how to drive my car because it's not set up properly. So I was like, ah. So with options, when you have too much options, then you just kind of you're trying everything, right? And then you get
So
lost.
so you're saying that Red Cat, you're still gonna buy the Red Cat over an RDX. I'm sorry. I'm very, very biased here because I know how the RDX drives and I know how the out of box setup on that Red Cat looked on Scale Science's video.
It's because you watch all these videos. All right. I didn't say I would, like I said, for what I know now, I would not buy the RDS. I will buy the RDX just because I already have knowledge. So why I'm not that new guy that um gets too
So
attracted to the fancy blingy things.
okay,
Okay, I
but
am, but not.
okay, but what about this then? Because we have a $400 price point that really can't be beat, right? I mean,
Yes.
apparently Yokomo RTR is like 330 now because they didn't do it right, which is hilarious because they fixed it, right? They went to like they put in an RTR kit at one point in time. Well, they botched the first one and then they revised it. So it came out with a brushless zero motor with the RSP whatever, like the cheap ESC from Yokomo. Came with an SPO2 servo and a V4 gyro, or it could have been a 302 gyro, right? But all in all, they fixed all their mistakes. And what do? They released the RDS with like this crap. Come on.
They did just to piss you off, Adam.
Right? Like apparently. I mean, like I know that Japan does like they still have brush stuff, right? Like a lot of their cool cars do brush. A lot of their older guys like do really really cool things with their cars. Like um was it last week that I was showing the picture of the hamster, or was it the week before? And
Oh,
it was basically a paper mache hamster as the body, and then there was also one with just a water bottle as the
yeah, I
car.
saw that.
Yeah. so um so yeah, the Scale Science video had their Red Cat driving fine. I'm just saying that it takes the work to get there. That's all.
Just like any chassis that we've built in the past.
Except in RDX.
That's true. Hey, I said in the past, not
So
present.
sorry. I was gonna make the point, like, so how would you approach this to a new person? Would you say, like, completely new person, no other RCs, or like they have like your typical bashers that like a Traxxas or Arma, whatever, right? Um, so they don't have like the racing radio. They don't have the radio that can store multiple models, right? Completely new. Would you say buy an RTR, or would you say if you had the budget, go do this, like RDX and cheap electronics?
Go ahead, Ben.
Um, oh, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's tough because I mean the RDX is pretty nice. I mean, I've looked at it extensively, and with for no adjustments, it's pretty badass. The Red Cat though, I don't know. I mean, it's tough, but it's one of those things where it gives you
So
options.
so get rid of the idea of red cat. This is just generic $400 RTR versus something better.
Um, eh, that's tough though because it really depends on your wallet too. Like some people just have no choice on that. But if you have a choice on it, yeah, definitely go with the better choice. I mean, it doesn't matter on price.
Hmm. So what about the person that's coming from racing, the person that has a good radio, has some decent electronics here and there, like, because honestly it's a hard debate, right? Because again, $400 um RTR, which at the same time RTR, like MST RTR, it's the way that I put it is that like it's like the try it if you like it type of thing, right?
Right.
Like if you like it, at least you're into it only, or if you don't like it, at least you're into it only $400, and you can get rid
Yeah.
of it for a pretty similar amount, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's a
Well,
hard proposition.
so with my experience with the noobs asking questions, hey, where do I get one? Or um, I'm always pretty upfront to, hey, what do you want to do with it? Do you just want to drive by yourself in your garage and think it's cool, or you want to put scale bodies on it and put racks and this and that, like basically the Stancy boy stuff, right? Um, or they're like, oh, I want to have fun and I want to drive with you guys. Then that kind of escalates to how much money do you want to spend
Mm-hmm.
and that. Would I
So
recommend would I recommend a RDX to a complete noob? Maybe. Like if it's like, oh yeah, I have money and I want to build one,
Right. Yeah.
RDX would be my go-to. Here's a kit, here's the electronics to buy, and then we can go from there.
mm-hmm.
With the way the RDX is set up, out of the box, I think it is beneficial to learn how to actually drive it. With my experience with it, I've driven it for a whole week. So I'm still stoked about getting one.
Oh, so that's official now?
Well, I'm stoked about getting one, but I didn't say when I'm getting one.
No, but you said getting one.
So, anyways, oh, and before that, I want to say hi. Kenny McDonald's on here too. Yeah,
Is he
he's
building a
building-
Midnight Mini?
yeah, he got a chassis from me.
Nice.
So, um, with that, like with the budget question, then I can kind of gauge what kit or what RTR to recommend. And I always go, this is what I would do if it was my money and I have enough of it. This is what I would do if I only have a certain budget.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like my typical route for anyone that's asking, like anyone that comes into the shop, I'm always the first to hand a radio over to them and be like, "Here, drive my car." Their
Oh yeah. I
first,
do with my MR. I'm
like
just like, here, try it.
their their first kind of like blown away moment is, or like they're timid, right? Because they see all the chassis, they get very very timid because they don't want to break anything, and they don't understand that like these cars are for the most part kind of bulletproof, like unless you have like curbs and like cement little barriers going on. But yeah, like once they start driving it, like they're the people that get it like really really fast, and those are the people that have good experiences that are like, yeah, I want to do this, right? And then there are the people that are kind of like, yeah, like I like it, but they like it didn't click for them, right? So that's kind of like, okay, so that's the person where I'm gonna give an RMX to. Like that's the cell that I'm gonna push towards them. It's like it drives good out of the box for the most part, and it's like a tried and true chassis. There was a comment earlier in chat about the transmission being fragile in the RMX. The 2.5 would have fixed that, or not would have, did fix it because they went to straight gear for that. So, yeah, non-issue. Um, yeah. So Peter in chat, just to play devil's advocate, what if you don't like the feel of the RDX out of the box? And it's a valid question, right?
mhm.
Driving styles are driving styles for a reason.
Yeah.
I would say you either have the wrong tires for your driving style or your surface, or you don't like your electronics that you put in it.
I mean, yeah, right.
Because I had the same feeling, right? Like I like how fast the RDX is, but I don't like how it drifts and how slow it transitions. That's why I got the okay with the owner and be like, hey, I'm gonna put my own electronics in there to test it out, and it's a night and day difference.
With
So
with no adjustment, how's the steering angle? Like, how much angle do you have?
It's
a lot.
already so
It's basically so the way it's set up out of the box. I would say that it likes angle. It
Okay,
likes angle. So it's a drift car.
cool.
well, not just that. It's a competition ready drift car. It
Mhm.
has the right angle. It has good Ackerman. It has a solid diff, but even with a solid diff, it drives and it's fast and it's actually drivable in a corner. Like one of my biggest things is that when a car is very lazy, like when you're fighting the gyro to like get around a corner, you're
Yeah.
kind of just set. Yeah, you're just set in the corner, just like you're along for the ride, not you driving the car, right?
Mhm.
So when I was driving the RDX with like the Sanwa setup that Jake had in it, um, and I think part of it is I knew how to tune the ESC too, so um, from the radio because it was my old system. But besides the point, like it it was battle ready. Like John was driving the same like the same motor ESC combo that day and was keeping up with me and everybody else like
Mhm.
without any issues, right? And this is the car that you just throw together and just drive it. Like electronics are a thing, right? Like the electronics that were in it were not cheap electronics. But like I got rid of the Sandwall because I hated the feel of it, right? I could drive it, but the Futaba setup for me feels way better. But
I agree with that statement. So and that's why the whole swap my electronics into it happened, and then I
mhm,
drove it, and I was like, okay, cool. And then um, I did, and this is why the tire thing earlier was a thing and was a discussion, cause so the tires are not DRCs, they were Rev Ds, and so with the tires being different versus a car with DRCs, it drove completely different. And then I put my DRCs on there that's fresh and clean for P tile. Yeah, it drove exactly how I wanted to. So after 5 to 10 laps, I quit driving it and then I swapped everything back over. And then now I'm back to the MC1.
mhm.
I still want a RDX. I don't know when it's gonna happen or if it's gonna happen.
But that outclip conversion for it, it's
No, I
sick.
hate that chassis.
It's that chassis, like it's outclip, right? I do think it's absolutely hilarious that it looks like they put like it almost feels like they based it off of a computer case because there's two spots on the bottom of the chassis where it looks like where you can mount fans on it, just like a computer case.
Right? There's just too much going on with that chassis. It's not clean enough for me.
hmm
So next,
I mean, but it's just a chassis, like
no, it's not just a chassis. Yes, I have to like it.
Mister. It needs to meet John's looks good requirement before anything else.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
The
So
front drive is my mini's not where I want it to be, but it drives good. So
okay, so I mean, since Janae is watching, right? Because Janae wants a drift car. Where would you point Janae? Because she's a buggy racer, right? So she already has a Sanwa M12. Okay, she already has receivers. She already has racing electronics, right? Although I'm pretty sure that she'll need a new everything because I don't think she'll want to disassemble her buggy. Um, I mean, unless she does, but we'll just say like
okay.
she
So
needs everything new.
okay. So Ben, you can go ahead and answer. And then I'll
Uh,
answer.
I mean, you know me for chassis is I'm all about D5. I mean, but also, like I said, I like the D5 because it's just a kit. Like you can put whatever electronics you feel you want to put into it and make it your chassis. And there are a lot of decent upgrades for it as well. But I mean, I'm not against other chassis. I'm really not. I just like to promote what I drive. So
Kenny gotta
Cool.
like the looks to have it. What about you, John?
Okay. So for Janae, I would say RDX out of the box. She can build it. And she is, from what the looks of what she does now, as far as into the RC hobby, she races and she has experience with that. She can run her radio, any of her Moto ESC setup to get started. But I would definitely recommend getting a Futaba 550.
But nope. She has a Soundwall radio.
It doesn't matter.
It does. It
Well,
does.
I'll get to that. So the reason why I would say she needs a Futaba um, gyro is to skip all the BS, right? We don't need her to get like a. I mean, she can get a Yokomo, but why spend $75 when you can just go ahead and buy the better gyro for $120, since that's the direction she's gonna go in eventually.
Wow.
I mean,
You're forcing ideals, John.
I did it. You did it. I mean, like, you did it too. You went with, you're the guy that tries everything. And then we settled at the 550 because it's the best one for the money.
No.
But yeah, if she's buying, well, from the chat, it sounds like she's gonna buy everything. So I would say RDX, Futaba gyro, a drift specific servo. And Ben can run his Savox, but I'm not that guy. I don't want my wheels shaking while I'm trying to drift because it just.
Dude, I love it because it pisses so many people off.
So it's not because I hate it, right? Because I mean, we were there. I had the fastest servo you can buy for $160 back in the day, and anything over 60%, it shook, and it was annoying because I couldn't drift as good as I can because my servo wasn't working right.
Because it was the fastest servo for $160. But chat,
it's like,
chat, I'm on board with you, Sanwa for life. Honestly, I've never had a problem. No joke. I have never had a problem with any Sanwa radio or receiver.
What radio do you drive with now?
A 7PX.
Which is not a Sanwa.
That's not what I'm saying. Right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I've never had an issue with binding a receiver to a radio.
I've never had an issue.
I've never had to run a glitch buster or capacitor to save my car from browning out. I've never had any weird cutout issues like the 4 p.m. in that awkward state.
It was the 4 p.m. I wouldn't consider as a good radio.
No, 4 p.m. is a great radio. Except for that generation of it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, right. We're talking about what I would do to build a car, and I think Janae would be in that same category, just because she has experience with RC, and now, I think she's not the one to pinch a penny just to. I don't think she'd penny pinch to build a car because she'd want it to perform at its highest capability while she's learning.
Mm-hmm. Now, she will need a new motor. Like, even if she did tear apart the buggy, which she's not in chat, she's not.
Yep.
Because those new buggy motors, man, those are torquey AF. Like even the Yokomo torque motor, for me, it's too much torque. Matt Timmer actually says that the Yokomo torque motor, the 10.5 torque Type T motor, has a higher RPM range than the actual RPM motor, which is hilarious. Janae, as far as your ESC goes, well, I don't know which ESC you have in your buggy, but as long as it has boost and turbo, you're pretty set. Or you could be like Ben and not boost and turbo.
The beast mode is the only one I run boosts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the MR, it's actually my original setup from the RR, and it's just an 8.5 motor that it was supposed to have boost, but it never worked. So
cheap electronics. Yeah.
Hey. It's cool though. I mean, I've always eaten everyone's door with it, so I don't mind it.
I mean, some people don't like that.
Well, it's nice because it still gives me enough control at low speed, so I can throttle up, brake, and if I really want to get up on you quick, I can.
Hmm. Right. Okay, so for Janae, and honestly, because she's already driven it, I would agree RDX, like 100% RDX.
I was gonna say
Um,
if she's comfortable with it, then yeah.
mhm. And if not the RDX, then I'd still probably, honestly, maybe a Yusakani. Yeah, like
I
maybe a Yusakani.
I still
No,
kind of wish I bought that from you.
Dude, it was a steal.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's cool though. I'm glad Jordan got it.
I still think it's funny. Like Jordan, and actually, I'm gonna have Alex and Ty on the show next week. Um, yeah, I guess we didn't
Alex,
talk about, yeah, Alex B.
and
Um, and Ty. Yeah, so we'll have 4 people.
we're having 2 guests next week.
They'll be on the same camera though. So, um, much more flight is working great for drift cars. Yes, I will agree. The much more is a racing ESC through and through. However, at the same time, it like I guess not however, it like you just need to know how to work the features. That's it. Matt, no. I mean,
And I think this is where it comes down to, right? Like now that we have knowledges of what we want to run and what style or how we want it to run, we all have different opinions. Like Kenny is starting with drifting not too long ago. So he's in the experimental stage of what he likes. With Matt, veteran, top competitor. Um,
winner
he's
of the
been,
last comp. Yeah, yep.
yep. So he's got his own style, which a lot of us are. I mean, we've talked about getting to that level to be super competitive. Um, but yeah, it's going to come down to what we'll prefer to run. So I
Like
don't
so
think there's a standard. I mean, so okay, let me retract. There is a standard for a RC drift car to make it drivable, but I
mm,
didn't think. I think by the time you get to a competitive level, then and you are running pro, you're getting paid to run someone else's stuff. So
that's not true.
I mean, you can be like you have to. You can't run a Futaba if you're sponsored by Spectrum.
I mean, but why would you do that?
I'm,
Why
I'm just saying.
who in the world would do that?
I'm just I'm just saying. Like we're
Watch,
getting.
watch Spectrum show up, be like, "Hey, I see that you drift and you're doing really, really good. Can I give you like radio and electronics?" It'd be like, "No, not even your batteries, man. Those smart batteries are whack."
I'm just saying. It depends on now we have knowledge and we know how we want to drive our cars, and we're getting people that are like, oh, I want to drive just like you, and they don't really know better, or they just want what's working from the next guy that they're watching. So I think there's preferences.
Yeah,
It's hard to answer that there's one specific motor ESC combo or a specific servo, or a gyro,
right.
because like we've done this dance a few times.
Well, well, and a dance it is, right? But
Hmm.
when it comes to ultimately just getting on the floor and running and drifting, do what you gotta.
Yeah. So since you said that, right, like just do what you can to run, but at the same time, I think in our group, like core
There's an
group,
yeah,
not there is some sort of standard, and if you are friends with that guy that's trying to get into it, I wouldn't let him buy a step two if it's only a few dollars over, right?
hmm
Like if it's like that gyro, 75 over 120. When knowing what I know now, they would end up stepping up to a better gyro anyways. So I think that's where I'm coming from with that.
So the only reason why I wouldn't recommend the 550 is because of radio choice, right? She's not gonna give up that M12 ever, right?
I'm waiting for her reply. She's like, nope, never. No,
it's gonna be John. Yeah, John.
Right? But like what we've done in the past, like we've had one servo that we both experimented with, or you experimented with it before I bought it.
No, it was
like
the other
your
way.
knowledge got passed on, right? And then now I know and blah blah blah. But at the same time, that's where I want to be. Like we can tune that gyro for her and then be like, okay, try that, and then plug it back in. And
it doesn't work like
that. How many times have I
technical?
I'm sorry. Like I think it was Jesse. It was Jesse's car that I worked on that he didn't have the Futaba radio, right? But he still had a 550. JD also did the same thing, but he eventually migrated to 7px Live, right? But you can set the endpoints on the 550, right? But you can't change like the actual endpoints on the radio to match the 550. You know what I mean? You can't change any of the actual settings unless you hook it up to something else and like actually set it, or go through the whole push button menu, which that is aggravating, except for the endpoints. The endpoints are fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, for what it's worth, for the stock tune of the 550 versus like a V4 or the Revox, V4 or Revox over the 550 if you don't have that Futaba radio.
Revox or V4?
I think the Revox is the step up of the V4.
But which one would you buy? Like, knowing what you know now, Revox or V4?
If money was an issue, V4 all day. Because the Revox is... Money's not an issue, Revox.
You just said V4.
No, you said that money's not an issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Revox.
Okay.
If money was a thing, then go for the cheaper V4. Right?
I know.
So the big difference, other than like the overall chemistry of it, is the ability that you can change through profiles on the Revox.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
But that's literally it.
I have a hard time choosing because I didn't, even though I drove the Revox like 2 nights back to back, I can't choose between the two. Because driving one with the V4 next car, it just does what I want it to, the way we set it up originally.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you and I have had this conversation many times, right? Like, I will say that, like, the V4 and the Revox, you have to tune the car to work with the gyro in tandem, right?
Mm-hmm.
In harmony. Whereas, like, you still have to have a good tune on your car for the 550, but there's a lot of things that you can hide with the software because of the 550 can do all of that.
True.
So it could be the fact that I like the 550 because it can hide my mistakes. Like...
To me, it does what I want it to.
Right.
Pretty much everything that we've done in the beginning with a 550 to this level, it's always been a minor tuning. Or actually, lately, after Sunday, I haven't touched my gyro settings at all. It's just stuck at whatever points it was at, but I've tuned the car.
Oh, new tech tip, everybody. Don't ask for anyone's gyro setting, like not the gyro gain. It doesn't matter. Just drive whatever feels good to you.
Yeah.
Guilty.
John, yeah.
I'm guilty.
It's like someone comes up to me, it's like, how high are you running your gain on your gyro?
High. That's all I ever say.
Okay, so it matters, but you can't copy someone else's setup.
No, not at all.
Not always. I mean, there's a couple of things that I copied and it works. So
yeah, I have my gyro cranked way up so I can throw it really deep. I like hard entries. So,
but it makes the rest of the car super soft and numb. That's what I hate. So okay, Peter Johnson not liking the GYD 470. I don't have one. I've played with a lot of 450s. The 470 is the upgraded version of the 450. They have the same feature set, right? So you have basic end-to-end endpoint adjustment, but it's not true endpoint. They can't be set separately. It's just kind of like one, like a range, right? So it's it's like it's either here or it's there. There's not like this. There's not like that. It's equal on opposite ways, which is why I say that it's not genuine endpoint setting. It works, but you have to have like the rest. Like again, tuning your car to work with the gyro, right? So like, does it work? Yes. Does it have its settings? Yes. Is it a good gyro? Sure, but it does not do what the 550 can do. It says that it has S bus capability, but the terminology or the function that the S bus capability is not what the 550 can do. It's just referring to the single wire from the S bus port on the receiver to the gyro, and then one cable from the gyro to the servo. So like a series connection instead of having 3 cables is all. Which honestly it doesn't matter, right? I mean it does kind of, but not really. So 470 is not on my list. Neither is the 450. That's why V4 or Revox is there. Even the MST, MR or GRX or MR, whatever their new gyro is, that has endpoints, right? The Red Cat has endpoints. So like, yeah, 450 and 470 are not on my list. Sorry.
Did we miss anything?
I don't think we missed anything, but it is another long stream, that's for sure.
So
Okay.
guys, for sticking around and listening to us babble about a bunch of things.
More
Ben,
like,
do you wanna promote your tattooing and see if people want to get some tattoo done?
Yeah, you can look me up on Instagram at Greaser Tattoo, or Facebook at just Ben Johnston. And again, I'm based out of downtown Vancouver, Washington. Super easy to get to, and yeah.
Cool. And we will have his info on the description later.
like,
Um,
subscribe, press the
yep, like,
notification bell.
subscribe,
Yeah, click
like,
those buttons.
cool.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, please do, because that will get us to the 1,000 mark, where like we can start like taking donations, doing ad revenue, all that fun stuff. So that'd be
Yep.
cool if we can actually do like make something of that channel. Although I'll still always do this just for the kicks and giggles because it's fun.
Be cool if Sakura saw this and threw me a sponsorship.
No, what I want is I want Sakura to bring back the original version 1 D4. Because that was the good one. The V2, they like messed up like the front end steering with their whole like I want to try the monoshock thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have a lot of regrets because I did a D4 with the oxygen conversion on it, and that went to Jason, and then yeah, that went to somewhere else.
The best D4 I've seen so far is Alex's. Like
That's because it's all the pink.
the pink machine, bro. That thing is so sick.
Okay, so before we keep on babbling and like adding another half hour to this, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll be here next week with Ty and Alex, or Alex and Ty, however you want to do that. And honestly, it's always fun to be here. So you guys have a good night.
Oh yeah. Later, guys.
Later.